Boom. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our Monday night team call. Hope everyone's had a great day today. Um, I know there's been heaps going on in the team this week. Obviously, congratulations to Calvin and Vanessa, who just became parents for the first time. It's amazing. Still trips me out. I see Mackenzie on Facebook and I'm like, Calvin and Vanessa are parents. That's crazy. First people in the friends group. So, oh my gosh, there she is. That's so cute. It's too cute. But let's get straight into it, guys. So I know you guys are probably expecting Bianca to be here, but with some crazy Auckland traffic and Adam flying in at awkward times, you've got me. So second best, that's okay. I know you're thinking it. I'm just saying what you're thinking, so it's all good. But we have a very special guest tonight. As a lot of you know, Amanda Fraser-Jones. Now, I think we've been in Isagenix around the same time. If you don't know Amanda, she's got an amazing story. So we're going to delve into that. But Amanda, thank you so much for having the time to jump on this call. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think you're going to shed a lot of light on what you can do with very little time, knowing your story very briefly. So, I thought how we'd start this off probably is best is just if you could please, share your story, where you came from, how you found Isagenix, and maybe just a few kind of key poignant moments that you had through the journey thus far. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right, because my rural internet is crazy. And probably a lot of you are the same. But welcome. It's so cool to be on you guys' call, and I'm so honoured to have Bianca ask me. I have been in Isagenix for almost 6 years now, which is crazy. And I was simply introduced by a good friend. And why? Because I was looking to shed some weight before summer. So it was really quite simple. And I was dairy farming at the time. So the box turned up on my doorstep. I took one look at it and was like, holy crap, what have I done? And I was someone that I grew all my own veggies. I had home cool meat in the freezer, so I don't know if any of you are like that. But I just never thought that my nutrition would come in a pre-packaged box. So I really attacked Isagenix with an open mind, but thinking that I would never, ever carry on past 30 days. And then everything changed when I felt the results. And by the time I got to the end of my 30 days, there was no way that I was ever going to stop using the products. But I didn't tell anyone, of course. No one knew that I was doing Isagenix. And I actually didn't tell anyone for probably a good year and a half. And why? Just because I didn't really feel the need to tell anyone what I was doing. I was quite a private person. And when I got invited to an event, I thought, what the hell do I need to go to an event for? But I just trusted my friend again. And I went along, and that's when my world was totally flipped on its head. I was just this dairy farmer sitting in an event, hearing for the first time about this crazy opportunity where you could create insane income. And I never looked back. I've been to every event since. My life looks a lot different now. And I'm so grateful that I guess I'm most grateful for my friend for telling me about Isagenix, but also that I had an open mind enough to just look at it a bit more in a bit more depth. So that's a little bit about how I've come into it.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. And I suppose like for everyone, we'll find Isagenix through someone who's been using the products and have stayed because we've felt the results or had some type of result that's caused some type of emotional shift or physical shift in us, which is so cool to hear that, with everything, it's kind of the same thing, especially in network marketing. You have to have a physical or emotional result with the products. But I suppose, we probably met a good 3 or 4 years ago now, and I've seen, we've gone through growth spurts, and you've kind of just gone through growth spurts and then some, which has been amazing to watch. So, but I know it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always just, you came in and all of a sudden started killing it. I wish it was like 3 months. So maybe you could share a little bit about your journey growing wise with the business, what your life was like beforehand with I know you've got kids and you've got, you're still dairy farming and you were in rural New Zealand, so probably not the most ideal lifestyle to be building a network marketing business, or it is either way. You look at it either way, but maybe you could share a little bit about that and how that kind of looked over the last 6 years or so.
Yeah, definitely. I guess you could say that a lot of things were stacked up against me. I didn't actually have Facebook when I started Isagenix, so I had this massive fear of Facebook. That's how farmer girl I was. And when I learned that to be able to share Isagenix, it would help having Facebook, I was like, oh God. But I got Facebook, and to learn how to post for me, that was a hurdle. So when I see people now come into Isagenix and they've got so many skills that I didn't even have when I started my business. So I'm just like, there's nothing, like, you really don't have to know anything. You don't have to be able to do anything. You just need to know that it's possible. And I think for me, going to those events when I did, I just sat there and listened and watched, and I heard that it was possible. So I couldn't exactly walk away and say, that's not, like, you can't do it, because I'd seen people do it. So basically I took it on as a challenge, and I just felt like if they can do it, I can do it. And so, yeah, I've always thought that I'm pretty relentless and ruthless when it comes to a challenge, and I just really have never given up. I guess it's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, it's so true. I think, like, with anything, it just takes that consistency. It takes that, belief that no matter what skills you don't have or fears you have right now, you can get past them, giving yourself, 2, 3, or even a year of just absolute consistent action. Or attacking that area of your life which that you may have a weakness in or may need to learn some skills in, which is so true. And I suppose a lot, or some of us on here, not me yet, are parents, and I suppose some parents use that aspect of their life, having it take away so much time out of their day, as an excuse. And then some parents use it as a motivation. So could you kind of talk a little bit about that? Because I know what it's like to milk cows, and it is the most time-consuming job in the world. And it sucks sometimes, and adding a kid on top of that, or 2, I just can't even imagine how backed up your days must have been. So what did your days kind of look like? How did you juggle that challenge? What hurdles did you come up against? All that kind of stuff.
Yep, definitely. So those of you that know Gabrielle Dean, so she was my good friend that introduced me to Isagenix. So basically I just looked at her and was like, you don't even have kids, so there's no way that I can do what you do, because I just had all this noise and excuses. But so I just watched what she did in the action, and I was like, oh well, I'll give it my best shot, given that I've got all these other little obstacles called children. But the thing was, I think at the events, that's really where I saw that other mums were sharing their stories. So if Gabrielle hadn't have got me to an event, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing this as a business, that's for sure. Because if I watched her, there's no way in hell I'd be doing this as a business, because her life, there's some aspects to what she wants, is her vision, her dream. I don't even want some of those things. So if she was trying to cast a vision for me solely, I just would have been like, no, thank you. So when I went to the events, I saw other mums sharing their stories, and I was like, holy crap, they are, some of them had 4 kids, and here I was at the time, had 1 child. And I was like, shit, what's my excuse? You couldn't, just those stories impacted me so much. And again, I just thought, if they can do it, I can. And so the events were everything for me in the beginning. And one of the things that stuck with me was one of the women sharing her story. She just said, you've got to learn to use your children as your reason for doing this, not your excuse, because otherwise you'll just stop, because it will be, my child's sick, I can't go, rather than, my child's sick, I've got to do this so that I can build an income where I can be at home with my child to look after them and not have to put them in daycare. So it's turning around every excuse and negative situation into actually it's your strength. It actually is so true. If you just turn everything on its head, that's your strength. Like, I don't have time. Well, if you do this business and really commit to it, you're going to have all the time in the world to do the things you love.
Yeah, so true. I think when because obviously Sarah and I don't have kids yet, but I was always absolutely mind blown by Brent and Sammy. Like, those guys with 5 kids, I just couldn't even imagine the organization that would take. I can barely get myself out of bed and ready for getting a business going, let alone 5 kids on top of that. There would have to be something more than just wanting income, or there would have to be something more behind that than what Isagenix is showing you can have to have that be a drive, because 5 kids is 5 times more reason not to go to work on your business every single day. So with that, obviously there would have to be some little tricks and ways you worked around the time aspect of it, because obviously kids are hugely time expensive, and so is milking cows. So what little tips and tricks, like how did your day kind of look when you were first starting out, or how does it look now, or what kind of changed? What did you learn along the way with time management that might be able to help some people on the call?
Yeah. It was pretty crazy, actually. So all the events were in Auckland when I started, and I didn't know how the hell to host my own event, and I had no intention of doing that because I was so shit scared. And I live rural. So I was 2 hours from Auckland, and I just drove to the events at night after milking the cows. We'd drive up there and sit in the event, like in the back of the room, watching other leaders like share their story and host it, and just was in awe of them. And then I'd drive back, get home pretty late, and then get up at 5 a.m. to milk the cows in the morning. And I was just so inspired, I guess. I felt like what was driving me at that point was just, what if I can do this? And just keep going. But I did stretch myself, a lot of the times I would take my child with me on the road to the events. I mean, I didn't see that as a problem, but I'm just going to be so honest. Some people did see it as a problem, and some people felt the need to tell me that, like, what are you doing driving around with your child, at nighttime? It's dangerous, like all this kind of stuff. And I just want you guys to know that does pop up. It's not like you just build this business and it's easy. People say stuff, but I think for me, I just had seen enough. I had caught the vision, and I just knew, like, if I stayed doing what I was doing at the same pace, I was like working on the farm. I'd been working on the farm for 10 years. I think I was getting $600 a week. If I stayed there, I would be in the same position in another 10 years. So to me, it just seemed like the right thing to do, to be able to have a really cool life. And so I just pushed people's comments to the side and just kept going. So, yeah, I mean, there's been tough moments on the journey, but there's so many rewards. Like, they outweigh any of the other stuff.
Yeah, so true. And I think everyone has the same a different version of that, right? Like, I suppose with a kid, you're always open to public parenting when someone has to have their opinion on your life with your child or your family. And then for some millennials, it's like, you've always got that tall poppy syndrome where no matter what you do, someone's going to try to chop you down. I think everyone's got some version of it, which is, it's just normal. And I had another question in my head and it's just gone. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. But knowing what you know now, with the freedom that you have with your business and stuff like that, if you'd known about this before Isagenix, like if you'd known about this before kids, if you'd known about Isagenix before kids, how would you have built differently? Like, would you have, if you had known that, what am I trying to ask here? If you knew the lifestyle that Isagenix could provide you with kids, and you knew about it before you actually started having a family, would you have built faster, harder? Would you have done this differently? Because I know there's a lot of people on this call that family is one of their goals, and it's one of their goals to have a family in the future, and they want to be able to provide for their family. They want to be able to spend time with their family. So what would you kind of say to those people?
Yeah. So like I say to a lot of my team all the time, like I had my first child when I was 22 and what am I now? 34. I had my second child last year. I don't know. It's a blur. Mums will know what I mean. But what I say to my team is like, if I had have found this when I was younger, and I mean, everyone has got different stories, but I feel like I'm sort of old now. But if I had found this when I was younger, I would have just been going like, just, it's such an amazing opportunity. I just would have been going hard. But what I find is with some young people, they still think there's something better out there. They still think getting a job, going and doing an apprenticeship or going to uni, doing that. And I still see that with a lot of people. They're still convinced or conditioned that that is the safer, better option at this point. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I've been there and I've done that. I've had so many different jobs. I've got kids. Like, don't do it. Don't even bother going there, because you will just waste 10 years of you'll waste your 20s. And if family is the goal, like, all the time, I find that conditioning and what parents actually really try to force on their children, like, you should be in a job, like being a hairdresser is better than doing network marketing. And that still is very much around.
It's so true.
Yeah, you see it. You see parents telling the kids like network marketing. I mean, I still get it. People are like, oh, what? So you just get people into your scheme? And I'm like, you'll keep. Like, people just don't understand. They don't. And I love now that I know that people just need to be educated, just like we have been, and we're so grateful that we have had the events to educate us, but there's a lot of people that aren't. And it's not their fault, but that's what stops a lot of people from doing this as a business, I believe. It's just not enough education.
Yeah, so true. So true. I watched a TED talk the other day, and it was about the reason that people get stuck in their job, and it starts with their parents feeding them information that they need to get a job, and then what happens is they go from that to finishing their job. They've got debt, and then they go get a credit card because they need to buy a house or put stuff in their house or buy tools for their job, and then they have to pay the credit card off, so they've got to go do the job which they're not that passionate about, and then they get stuck in that cycle and never ever go do what they were actually passionate about. And it's this like vicious cycle, and the banks don't help and parents don't help, and then tall poppy syndrome doesn't help, and it's this kind of eclectic mess that gets people so stuck in the safe thing which isn't that safe. But that's so cool. Okay, so I mean, we've been on a few trips together. I think we were in Fiji in 27. Oh, let me just do something. We went to Fiji in 2018, last year. Was it last year or before? Last year, I think it was.
It might have been.
Yeah. It was an awesome trip.
We were in Fiji this year.
Oh, no, it was Top Achievers. It would have been 2017. Anyway, it was an amazing trip.
Yeah.
We got to know each other a little bit more. So what do you think, like, the best bit of advice you've been given through your journeys would be? Like, where have you taken the most gold from? Has it just been a kind of a collection of little things and attending events over and over again? Or has there been like one really big piece of information from a mentor or a coach or something like that you've been given that was really valuable to you?
Yeah, I think you can't deny that it is a collection of things and from different leaders, and that's the coolest thing. You take what you like and you just park what you don't like. I mean, but one of the most important things I've found for myself is just not taking anything personally. And I wish everyone knew this, but sometimes you do have to remind people that even after doing this 6 years, and I don't just walk up to people and go, I do Isogenetics, join, and they join and say yes, and it's all flowers and easy. It's definitely not like that. You do meet people that have, an opinion. And if I had have not had the training or not been to the events that Isogenetics so amazingly put on, I'd be a freaking mess. I would have never done this business, because I honestly used to hate letting people down or hate disappointing people. And even if I spoke to someone about Isagenix at the start and they were like, bloody hell, stop trying to sell me stuff, I just would have stopped, because I wouldn't have known that that's nothing to do with me. Whereas over this journey, I've really learned that whatever someone says, it's got nothing to do with you. Even if they say, you haven't given me the help I need, it's still coming from them and their perception of what kind of help they need. So not taking things personally has been a huge thing for me, because to be completely honest, the more success you have and the more you work your butt off but you get success, people sort of challenge you. And it's sort of like that test to see if you really deserve this or really want it. You get challenged more as you get more success. And it's honestly like some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I must be doing something right because this day is hard. Like 10 messages just come through, like so much challenging conversations to be had. But you know that's where you're succeeding. So yeah, 10 years ago, I would have been like, I would just given up, stop, dealing with people, and their opinions can be hard, but just not taking things personally is like the best advice.
Yeah, so true. And, guys, Amanda will say exactly the same thing. Sometimes when you grow an organization, it even comes from within your own organization.
Oh, yes, probably more so.
More so. So don't be surprised if that happens in the future. If you're looking to grow a successful and substantial organization, it can come from within, trust me. But on that topic, Amanda, I mean, to be frank, you couldn't be any more different to Gabby. You guys are completely different people. And I suppose, in Isagenix, we sometimes have this warped perception that we have to love the person who got us started, or we have to be exactly like that person, or we have to do everything that they say because, they know best. And we never actually grow our own 2 feet and be like, I'm going to go test and measure this way, or I'm going to go test and measure this way, or I'm going to go do this. And so what was it for you that got you past thinking you've got to do it like Gabby and off doing it the way you did it? Because I don't think without that decision you would even be here still.
Yeah, heaps of fights. It's funny, because we've just got such a long time relationship. But heck no, I wouldn't be here if I had to do things all her way. Getting me to events was honestly the best thing she ever did. And I'm learning that too with people that I bring into this. Sometimes I'm even scared to talk to different people about Isagenix because I'm like, they're so different to me. How will I even coach them? But see, that's something that Gabby is so good at. She doesn't just talk to people that are like her. She will talk to every single human being that walks the face of the earth. And she just knows that once you're brought into this community, you don't have to gel so much with the person that brought you in. You just get carried along with the community. And that's a good, it's business, right? After all, it is a business. And yes, you can choose who you work with, but you definitely don't want to be cutting yourself off at the legs and only talking to people that are exactly like you. And that's something I'm still learning along the way. Let's be real. Like Colin James said, none of us know what the hell we're doing. Everyone's just making stuff up we don't know what we're doing. No. And I was just on this call before this, the team call, and Cameron Bearfor, who's freaking young, amazingly successful in this business, but she's just honestly, the best advice is just that everyone is making this up. There's no one that's like all of us, especially in New Zealand, we're just it hasn't been done before, so we're just trying to do whatever, Gabby's just hit the first Isagenix Millionaire, and I don't even know if there's any other network marketing companies that have millionaire status in New Zealand. I don't know. It's quite possible that Gabrielle is the only millionaire in any network marketing company in New Zealand. I don't know. It's we're all just making this up as we go, and that's sort of the most exciting part, is that we are paving the way here, and it's quite cool when people ask you like, what can I do here? And it's like, you can actually do anything. And I love when you're coaching your team and they're so much more switched on than what I am. Like they can work Facebook so much better than me. And I'm like, teach me.
Yeah.
So it's just, the best thing is being adaptable and just being open to learning yourself. Like Eric Worre says, you can be a teacher, but you have to be willing to learn yourself. Because
so true. And I think, I get off team calls sometimes, or, we've been doing something, we've launched a campaign or something like that. And, the whole team kind of looks at you and they're like, oh, this, they've got it all together. And meanwhile, you're, behind closed doors going, I hope this works because I'm just pretending it's going to work. We're all making it up as we go. And I suppose like the more everyone on this call understands that, is that the more you understand that we're all just making it up, the more permission you have to go make something else up yourself. There's no set way yet. There's no proven method. There's no do it this way and you're going to get here. The only thing you can be sure of is that you have to talk to people, you have to follow up, you have to enroll, you have to build team, you have to build a team, and you have to grow yourself. Those are only five. Those are the only 5 key principles that have to be followed. How you message people, how you follow up, all that kind of stuff, that's still all up in arms. No one really knows yet. So that is the way that, no one's going to move network marketing forward or Isagenix forward by following what was done behind us. Like the principles, yes, but we need to find new methods. We need to find new ways to do it. You need to feel like it's authentic and true to yourself to be able to go and message people and follow up with people and do it the way that feels good for you. Because some of you were up on the mountain with Jen Schultz and on the retreat, but she asked a question. She said, who has messaged their whole contact list in their phone? And has anyone on here done that yet? Message their whole contact list in their phone?
No.
Right. And the reason will be, she said, the reason I'm assuming is that you haven't found a way that feels good for you. That would be the only reason you haven't done it, is that you've found a set of products that you love, and yet you haven't found a way that feels amazing for you to share them yet. And that's what you've got to test and measure through this process. And no one else is going to be able to help you do that. That's going to be totally up to you. So yeah, that was just a little side note there. Okay, so then, what are you kind of looking forward to for the future, Amanda? What's kind of the next goal? Do you know something that Isagenix is doing that we don't? What's your kind of vision for New Zealand? I know you run Fit Farm Chicks as well, which is
Yeah. That I was actually going to say, like, when we started Fit Farm Chicks, it's just a Facebook page. That it was just because that's what I was. I knew more about farming than I did about network marketing. Still don't know about network marketing. So what I would say to all of you, if you're starting the business, or even if you've been in it a few years, is just think about the one thing that you love, you find joy from doing, or think about your upbringing and like who you are. Like what makes the person you are. And you can create this business to align with that. So it sounds weird, but I say to my team, if you like sewing, like just start up a really cool group about sewing. Because when you find that common ground with someone, like when I'm talking to a farmer, it's like, boom, you just can talk farm. And then they're going to trust you. And then as soon as you mention, I actually don't farm anymore because I'm actually looking at buying my own farm. But I don't work on the farm because I earn an income with Isagenix. What's Isagenix? Boom. So you've got to sometimes take it away from Isagenix, because like some people are just like, what's Isagenix? It's like this label, it's weird, American, like what is it? And it's really not about the Isagenix like label, like here's these shakes and products. It's about like connecting with people and then just saying, well, this is just what I do. And often people are like so curious, like what is that? And so that's what I tell to people. You got to take it away back to what you love, and then people will be so curious to like what it is you do.
So true. I actually experienced this the other day. So Sarah and I are real keen skiers. Like we did 36 days last season, which is a skier's dream. Like all midweek, skipping every line possible. I got so snobbish I wouldn't even ski on the weekends with my friends. It was that bad. And so this year I started a midweek ski group just on Facebook, and I was like, let's just start a group, see how many people in the Taupo, Turangi, Palmerston North kind of area that would be interested in, just meeting up with some more ski friends and who ski midweek. Well, 745 people later, the group just kind of went off. I had companies reaching out. I had the newspaper reach out. I had the actual people that run the ski, the mountain reach out. All sorts of stuff kind of happen, and it's so easy to connect with these people. Just to build a relationship, and they always want to know, how did you ski 36 days last season? How did you ski 36 days last season? It's like the constant kind of question. And I can guarantee with being able to go on the mountain with them and catch up more and, go stay on the mountain, they're going to want to know even more. So, and that's just me doing something that I love doing. Like I can't get enough skiing. And so, that's such a good point.
Yeah, it is. And even if you haven't enrolled a single person, you can still do this. You can still start talking to people because of what your passion is, and just sort of mention, but what I'm looking at doing is building a business, with Isagenix. You can still link it back. I think it's more important to just remember what you're passionate about rather than going in hot with Isagenix and then trying to it loses meaning and purpose. And it can be so simple, but honestly, sometimes it takes someone to sit with you and have that discussion about it, because you get so excited with Isagenix that, the income that you can make is insane. You guys have probably all got your own stories, but it's easy to get so excited you lose your shit, and then you forget what the hell you're doing, and then you're like, oh, you get scattered, and I find it within the team too. They're getting paid so incredibly, and they're like, holy shit, this is so exciting. And then it's they're just posting left, right, and center. And sometimes bring it back to what, have that discussion and be like, right, where do you want to take this? And yeah.
And Jen said the same thing to us. She said it just makes you a more well-rounded person, having, not just being an Isagenix billboard, but actually having a passion behind you, or having another side job that you're doing, even if you're doing Isagenix full time. It just gives you credibility rather than someone who's just Isagenix. To everyone else in the world, Isagenix means nothing other than to us, because we've been to an event, we like the company, we know the people, we know the community. But to everyone else, they want to know who you are as a person, not, how well do you rep Isagenix.
Yeah, exactly.
So true. But back to that, what are you kind of looking forward to the future? What goals have you got on your plate? Are you looking to buy a farm? What's the future for Amanda and the Fraser Jones family kind of looking like?
Yeah, I was just talking about that today. I'd love to buy some land in Coromandel. It's the next on my list. Cool. But I'm heading off to the Start Vision Tour, so hopefully see a lot of you guys there in Auckland in a couple of weeks. And that's going to be crazy. Then Nashville for Global Celebration. That's nice. Going to be cool. Going to head over to that. But I'm really excited for where Isagenix is heading. I was in Bahamas a few months ago for the Global Top Achievers, and we got to hear, a lot of the goings on within the company and where they're headed and the products that are coming out, and we got to try some products, and holy crap, I actually just ordered some of the peach and mango cleanse. It is so good. Wow. It's so friggin' good. It makes you want to double cleanse every single week.
Wow.
But the things that Isagenix, where they're heading, and how they've changed their mission statement to be the most trusted and respected, is it?
That's it.
Rather than going large, that's what I love, is when you've got that niche and when you've got that real heart and purposeful movement. That is so much more powerful than size. And that's what I love, is that the results are better than anything you see out there. And that's what I say to people when they say, why is Isagenix different? Like, why can't I do this, or that? Because there's so many things out there now. I just say, well, it's the results, because tell me where the results from those other things are. And often there's none, So that alone, and then just seeing the heart of the company in Bahamas and like just seeing where they're going. There's some exciting things. Obviously, we can't tell a lot of the stuff, but yeah, I'm very, very proud to be aligned with Isagenix. And when I first started Isagenix, I couldn't have said that because I didn't know who the heck they were. I didn't tell anyone that I was even using the products. And I just want to say that because I know even when I'm sharing Isagenix with people and they order their pack, I know a lot of people do feel like that when they start. They don't want their friends to know. They don't want their family to know. And I can totally relate to that because when I started, I didn't want people to know. I didn't want people to know that I was eating food from a brown box because I had my own vegetable garden. I was a dairy farmer. Like I just didn't know I didn't know enough about it to feel proud about it. But now I can just openly say I've got no kind of, I don't care what anyone has to say about it. And I just am so proud to be aligned with Isagenix. They're just like a family. And I'm proud to be building a legacy for my kids so that when I'm gone, hopefully not too soon, but when I'm gone, my business is just going to keep growing and growing and that income is going to be there for the boys. That's pretty cool. So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't give it up for the world.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Who is inspired by Amanda's story and how she's sharing? Yeah, so true.
Yeah, and it's Bianca and Adam, are they on? I think I can see them there. But congratulations on being nominated for Couple of the Year. Isagenix Couple of the Year award for Nashville Global Celebration. That is so cool.
That's so cool. That is awesome. What other question did I have for you? So, Adam and B, if you want to jump in at any stage, feel free to jump in. I suppose like another kind of key thing, especially I suppose in New Zealand, is the education that's required for people to even start building some type of income with Isagenix. I think, the US kind of produce consultants out of nothing. It just happens. And I think in New Zealand it's a little bit more difficult. So could you kind of talk a little bit about how you've adapted to the New Zealand market, what kind of systems and tools you do or you implement into your business that you've seen has had a massive impact, or like what's your kind of feelings around the New Zealand market and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So what I've learned when I was in the Bahamas, one thing I felt so sheepish, really, because the Americans, a massive difference is they don't really talk about the products as much as what we do. They cast the vision straight away for people. They say things like, if you become consultant in 7 days, they've got a different language. They're talking about the business straight away. Like I never ever did that. And I still am not leading with the business. Because that's how I came into it with the product. So I still very much talk about the products, my 30-day cleanse. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Like you just need to know nothing you do is bad. Like it's all learning and growing and everything like that. But that's a difference. They're talking about the business a lot. But one thing in New Zealand that's what I believe is different is that I get in front of people a lot. So I did a lot of driving in my early days. And since I've had the baby last year, I have sort of stopped driving and doing events at night so much, but I still get to every single event that I can. But getting in front of people was really important. I don't know if it's just because I would have liked that. Like messaging people only through Messenger and never really seeing them or hearing them or knowing them, I only would have gone so far. But I find what I do, and even through our page that we've got for Farm Chicks, I try and meet people as soon as I can. I will go there and do events. And that's what my life looked like at the start. I would take my oldest son with me. I'd drive to like Palmerston North, drive to Wanganui, drive to the Hawke's Bay. I just drive everywhere because I just knew if I met that person, I'm more likely to stay doing Isagenix than not.
Mm.
And that's something that I still believe to be so true. Even if someone loses 30 kgs, they have an amazing result, they will still stop if you've had no connection with them.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So meeting people, getting out of your comforts and really putting yourself on the line. Like, what are you prepared to sacrifice for others' success? Because if you aren't prepared to sacrifice anything, then your success will just be limited.
So true. That's such a good thought. Like, what are you? That's a mic drop. Can someone write that one down? Rory, I can see you shaking your head there. If you could write that one down, that'd be great. What are you willing to sacrifice for other people's success? It's so true. And I think, one bit of coaching that I've had recently, which has been amazing, is that, a why for yourself will only get you so far. Only having something for yourself, or like having a money goal or income goal, as soon as that's taken care of, it's really hard to keep going to grow something next for yourself. After that, it really has to be about someone else or a community or a group or serving a bigger purpose. So if that's somewhere where you guys are stuck, you've heard it here first, folks. You've got to, what are you willing to sacrifice for someone else's success? And I suppose, like, if you're ever feeling like you're coming up against a brick wall, or you just can't get yourself motivated, that might be somewhere to start looking. But I thought I would open up the lines a little bit to everyone else and who might have questions, just because we don't get guest speakers very often. So it's pretty cool to be able to open up the lines. So has anyone got any questions that they want to ask Amanda before we jump off?
I've got one.
Yeah, go Sarah Berry.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Sarah.
So when you first started, so you used the products for 1.5 years, and then after that, when you're like, oh, okay, I can like share this and earn some income, what was your why and what drove you to do that?
Yeah, I didn't have any grand why, that's for sure. When I first heard that, what's your why, I was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't even really understand what the hell that meant. Because for me, when I first went to the events, I found like the jargony stuff. I was a closed book. So I was like, what the hell are they saying? Like, ask what your why is, what's your dream life? I feel like I've got it pretty good. So if you don't have a why, that's okay. But I think for me, I was inspired. I was just really like, holy heck, like these people are not only creating an amazing income. And at that point, my drive wasn't really income. But what I realized, when I look back now, I realized that I just didn't think that I could earn more than what I was getting paid. I mean, you have to understand a person, I think, to know this to be true. But I was brought up in a big family on a dairy farm. There's 5 kids. None of my clothes were new. I just thought, I'm so grateful to have a job and be getting a weekly income of $600. I never thought that I would be getting paid more than that, really. So to be asked questions like that in the events, I toyed around with the idea of earning more income, but I think I was just more inspired by hearing other people's stories of the income they'd created, and especially mothers for me, because that's what my situation was like at the time. But then when I got my first, second, third pay, I've got to admit that was like, oh shit, like this is real. And even though Gabrielle had been telling me till she was blue in the face, it wasn't until I actually got paid that I was like, oh my God, like, and it started to match what I was getting on the farm. So it wasn't long before $600, like we know in Isagenix right now, if you enroll 2 people on the premium pack, basically it's $550 straight away. And if you cycle once, it's over $600 straight away if you enroll 2 people on premium pack, if you get enrolled now. Like, that's crazy. So that's what I was earning a week. So it's not hard to get paid that. So when I did, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting like paid more from this than my job. Like, and that's when I was like, what if I did a bit more? What if I did a bit more? It was like a challenge. So I had no why. I was just like riding the wave. Like, what if I did this? And how about if I drive there? And it just grew and grew and grew. And then it was like, this is real.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you just don't look back when that happens. You guys would know.
And then also coming into Isagenix, would you say that from your background and how you were brought up, would you say that you had quite a lot of discipline in nature?
Yeah. Yeah. We got disciplined as kids.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always say is that when we were growing up, we were always told, be happy with what you've got. And so that was one of my biggest hurdles in Isagenix, that I was just happy with what I had. I didn't really strive for more, because I felt like by doing that, it showed that I was ungrateful. And so that stopped me, because I'm like, wow, I've got paid. Like, I don't want to be like, right, I'm going for this next rank and I'm going for this, because I felt like, just be grateful for what you've got, like, for God's sake. And so my upbringing and conditioning, I guess you could say, was like what stopped me getting more success faster, because I just had to go at my own pace. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want that success. And even now, when people like, celebrate your income, celebrate this, I'm like, oh, like, even now for me, it's a big block for me. It's like, how much success you have to grow into that. It really is a real thing when your whole life has been just be grateful for what you've got, be happy with what you've got. And there are people out there in the world worse off than you. And yeah, that kind of thinking has really, I've had to push through that.
And I suppose being a dairy farmer, like, whether you want to get out of bed or not, those cows have to be milked. So it's kind of the same with business. Like, whether you want to talk to people or not, you have to bring in new customers. Whether you want to, follow people up or not, it has to be done. It's the same mentality.
And it is the funny thing. Like, right now, obviously, just like you guys, inviting people to events. And right now, it's calving season for dairy farmers. And I'm like, I'm exactly that a-hole that 6 years ago, I would have been like, are you shitting me? I can't go to an event. I'm freaking in the thick of calving. So I'm like, hey, come to this event. It's on, da, da. And they're like, no, it's calving. I'm like, oh, come on, like, da, da, da. There's always challenges, and it's actually funny that you get challenged with the same challenges you once challenged someone else with.
Mm-hmm.
So you just never give up. And I think that's the funny thing about this. What you're doing to someone else, it always comes around. Like, it's just be resilient, be consistent, don't give up, and be able to laugh at some of the stuff. Because
so true. I know even people who they go through their journey and they don't reevaluate their why, and they start giving you the excuses, or they start giving you the excuses that their team's giving them. So, like, it even gets that far. If you don't really rediscover why you're doing this and keep moving forward, it just becomes, you just kind of get shrink down to everyone else's problems. So that's so true. I know Calvin or Vanessa had a question as well. Do you guys want to?
Just a quick question from me, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, hang on a sec. Sorry, Mum's just got her one on, so it's kind of echoing a little bit. All I was going to ask is, Amanda, you're busy as, obviously you're juggling 2 kids, dairy farming. So what does your day kind of look like? Like, you're obviously still building your Isagenix business and everything like that, but what does your day kind of look like to support new customers and bring on new people and everything like that? Like, do you set aside hours, or you're more like just go willy-nilly? Like, what does your kind of day look like for all those other parents and new parents out there?
So obviously there's no, like, parenting, it always has to somewhat come first, and that just is the nature of the beast. I think you become more resourceful, definitely. I think it's actually possibly, if I could just turn it on its head, it's probably the kids that have made me build this business better than what I would have done if I hadn't had them. Because, like that saying, if you want a job done, give it to a busy person and they'll get it done quicker than someone that's got all the time in the world. And my day, I was a bit different to everyone else. I don't schedule. When I started to do Isagenix, when I was doing it around dairy farming, I just did it in the pockets of my time. Like I said, drove to events after milking in the evening and just got home late. I didn't care. It was some weird hours in the morning, depending on where I went, and then just got up and milked the cows. But now I'm just locking in calls throughout the day. And it might be that like when the kids are at school, I do try and do calls. But again, the evenings are when other people want to talk and when other people are free for calls. So I don't go, some people might, but I'm not like, no, sorry, I'm bathing the kids. No, sorry, my kids eat then. I'm just like, okay, sweet. What time works for you? Okay, I'll be there. I just know that what I want is going to take sacrifice. And if the kids have to eat earlier, be bathed later, that's what I'll do. But some people aren't prepared to do that. And that's the difference. I don't know if it's because I caught the vision and I really know what's possible with this. So for me, juggling the kids is a lot easier than juggling the rest of my feckin' life. And that's for me what I do. I'm pretty like, the kids are adaptable, you know? So
yeah,
my day is just, I'm basically doing the business most of the day, even in the car, on the phone, like just whatever I can, because I just do my best. I think that's the best thing. It doesn't really look that pretty though.
Yes, so true. I think I was watching a TED talk. I was chatting to Bryce about this the other day, and it's that, what's it called? Parkinson's law. You know, no matter what given time you give it a task, the human will take that amount of time to do it. So, you know, give it an hour to do a job, you'll finish it in an hour. Give it to the rest of the week and you'll finish it, you know, bang on the deadline. It's just how the human brain's conditioned. So you've got to, you know, get ahead of yourself and start giving yourself deadlines and fitting things into the pockets of your time. So I imagine actually being a dairy farmer with 2 kids, managing a life, actually made you more productive than less productive.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a blessing, because I think as soon as you go full-time into Isogenics, the discipline to keep that going is really difficult, like really difficult. So always having something else on your plate, I think, is a massive kind of, not motivator, but it just helps the human condition rather than hinders it. Because everyone thinks, oh, when I've got more time, it's going to grow more, but that's just not necessarily true.
No, absolutely not. You do less.
Yeah.
And you never want to cut your network off. So if you're at a job, it's, you know, you want to stay around people. If you think I need to be at home doing the work, well, no, you want to be around people because that's networking. Yeah. And it's just like this business, at the bottom of it all, at the bottom of the heap, like you're not just going to wake up and start building the business and be inspired and motivated and like consistent. You've got to catch that vision. I really think, and with the Start Vision Tour coming up, if you don't know if you want to do this business or you're not really doing it or you're 1 foot in, you haven't caught the vision yet. It's just as simple as that. You haven't caught the vision that you need to catch for yourself. And my advice, if you want to catch it, if you're like, I just really want to do this, but X, Y, Z, I don't have time, I don't have money, whatever it is, go to another event. Do an 11-day cleanse. I say that because I know a lot of my team, some of them are even struggling to use the products correctly. And I say, do the 11 days. What's that? Like, I do the 11 days, like, you know, 4 cleanse days in 2 weeks. It's like, it's hard out, but that alone can pull you out of like that place you're in.
So true. So true. Well, I'm going to let you go, Amanda. Thank you so much for your time. And honestly, I think, you know, we do so many of these Zoom calls through our Isogenics careers, but I think this has been one of the most real and raw ones that we've ever had. So thank you so much for bringing that level of real and rawness to what it, you know, your journey and what it's taken and sharing what you've shared. So that's really cool. But
no worries. Thank you for having me. It's been awesome. And I'll probably see most of you in Auckland.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Amanda. And yeah, see ya.
Thanks, Amanda.